Wow, your baggage that you came with before you became a girlfriend can't be the baggage that you continue in throughout the relationship. I'm gonna get real comfortable with y'all, but there's definitely an adjustment before getting engaged. Budget. What are they willing to spend? Hi you guys, I'm Danielle, and today I'm going to do a video about 10 things I wish I knew before getting engaged. That was so corny. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna be reading off my iPad. I'm gonna get real comfortable with y'all, but I'm just gonna talk about, things I wish I knew before getting engaged. I got engaged to my fiance on April 5th of 2024. So there's definitely an adjustment before getting engaged. I love to talk to y'all about including my engagement story, including some details about my own life that I would love to share with, my family and friends or whoever's watching. The first thing I wish I knew before getting engaged was definitely the agreement, the beginning stages of a relationship and the agreement you have to have with your partner. So with me and my fiance Tyreek, definitely knew we were going to be married probably since the first year. I know it definitely took me a little longer just with relationships and like previous experiences I've had, but I know he knew he wanted to be married early on in the relationship. It's kind of weird to describe, but he used to call himself a hit, which is a husband in training. He's been using that terminology since the beginning of us dating. And he's been a husband in training for how long we've been dating? We've been dating for 3 years. Yeah, we've been dating for 3 years and then engaged for a month. How early you had to plan being engaged. Starting from the beginning of our relationship, we both knew we wanted to be in a serious relationship. We both talk about getting married to each other probably the first year of being in a relationship, and from then we knew we both had to work towards that goal. It's one thing to say you want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, but when you want to be husband and wife, that's a whole new chapter in a book that does not come easy. And definitely in the future, you have to understand, especially if you do have future goals as women, as young women. That's who I cater my audience to. Young women, 25 and under. I'm 24, so anyone who wants to get married young, it's definitely different in a lot of people's eyes. But, a lot of people are mature enough. A lot of people are established enough to do that. And if you are, then those are things you have to talk about early in your relationship. Those things you have to envision for yourself early in your relationship, and it can definitely be done. Number 2. So the second thing I wish I knew before getting engaged was the expectations of a proposal. A proposal is a big deal, especially for the women. I know for myself, I knew I wanted a really intimate, a really emotional, evoking proposal. Like my fiance, like before when we were talking about getting married, and after at one point we were talking about the proposal and things that he wanted, things that I wanted. That I know I want it to be a moment. Like I want so in the moment with your partner that everything in the background just like it just went quiet and all you can see is your partner and your partner can only see you, and there's just this big moment, and that's really what I wanted. And I wanted to see effort. I know a lot of men, proposal, although they would love to be married and they love to, propose to their wife or their partner, it's really for the women. Like honestly, the women we have the dramatic effect. We want the white horse and we want the carriage and we want him to be crying and we want to be like, we always want this movie, unrealistic, but this movie fantasy image of a proposal. And I knew I wanted that in a different way. Different meaning very small, very intimate. I did have go back and forth between the idea of having my family there or not, but it was just on timing and how things worked out. But I ended up loving my proposal, which I'll talk about later. There's definitely a sit down that has to be done between you and your partner about is whether you want to plan it, whether you want him to plan everything, whether you give him tips and tricks. Like those things you have to discuss. Like I did tell him between us two, I wanted to be intimate. I wanted him to put his heart into it. Like I didn't want him to think, I'm sure I did stress him out because I was sending him TikTok after TikTok after TikTok, and they were all different ideas. Like I'm an indecisive person, so one day I'm gonna want this, another day I'm gonna want this, a different day I'm gonna do this. So I did. I'm sure I did stress him out at some point, but overall I think he did a beautiful job. I love what he did, and I would relive that moment. I do tend to relive that moment every day. So I think I got proposed to in April, and I think he had everything set up since January. So he had January, February, March, April, 4 months. And, you know, he has a lot of women in his family. And I also have a sister and my mom. So I told him, use your resources. Talk to my sister. Talk to my mom. Talk to his aunties and them. Because women know women. Like, we know what we want. We don't want, you know, we don't want nothing basic. We want something just a little elevated, you know, flowers and things of that nature. So whatever, those expectations definitely have to be talked about with your partner, because if they don't know what you want and they end up proposing and you're like, well, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm going to be like, is that it? I don't know. That's just me. It's going to be my first one and only proposal. Hopefully. Well, let me not speak that into existence. Definitely going to be my one and only proposal. I think I deserve, you know, if he could run a red carpet across the world, I would hope he would do that. So I knew, you know, this is not something to play around with. You gotta take this seriously. You also have to ask about your partner's budget. What are they willing to spend? Like, not willing to spend an exact number, but, you know, you don't know what they're going through at the time. A lot of men tend to, they want to provide the world, but if that's stressing them out financially, then I would never want to put my partner in that position to where they feel like they can't really splurge or really do what they want based on other experiences, you know, family things, financial things. You never know. So just make sure you guys are on the same playing field of what's to be expected. For those young girls who are out there, or, you know, people who are getting ready to start school and want to get married to their partner and know they want to be married, you know, both on the same page, this could definitely help if you haven't started talking about these things, you know. The third thing I wish I knew before getting engaged was how to make this a planned but not planned event. So when I mean planned, it means like the second point I made is that you want to have a discussion with your partner about what the engagement is going to be about. Like, do you want this in Mexico? Do you want this here? Do you want this in your family? Do you want a surprise dinner? Do you want your family to be there at the end? Like, there's a lot of things that can come from this engagement. So definitely knowing that is the plan part. Like telling your partner, okay, I want this, this, and this. Don't propose to me on the beach. You know what I mean? Like, those are some things you have to discuss, and that's the planned part. The not planned part is whenever the date is. I did not want to know when my date was, which brings up another point that I'll talk about later. But I definitely did not know. I wanted to be a surprise for me, because one thing about me, I'm gonna scoop the scenery out, and I'm gonna scope the scenery out. I'm going to, as soon as I see something off, I'm going to be like, And from then on, it's going to be an ongoing turmoil in my head. And I'm going to end up finding the secret. Especially, at least my fiance, he don't know how to hold a secret. Like, and even talking to him after the engagement, he was like, I couldn't hold it. Like, soon as we were done with the engagement, as soon as we got done with one thing, he was like, okay, this happened. And then I couldn't figure this out. And then I ended up doing this. And like, he was just vomiting words because he, you know, it was a big secret. Number 4, the fourth thing is sitting down and planning on how to grow together in your weaknesses. So being a boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, you have a lot of discussions on your expectations, your strengths and weaknesses, and this is what me and my partner talked about, your strengths and weaknesses. How can I do better? How can I provide for you better? How can I love you better? You know, things of that nature. You know, in TikTok and Instagram and just in this life now, there's a lot of talking about, you know, how can everyone grow? How can we be there for each other? What's your love language and things of that nature? So we started doing that, you know, early on, but especially getting closer to the day of marriage. And what I mean by that is, I guess we both knew there was a time that we were going to get married. Like, we weren't going to wait. I told him I did not want to wait past 5 years of when I wanted to get married. I kind of wanted to get married, you know, 3-4 years. So we both had a day or a year of when this was going to happen. Required both of us to grow in different ways. Like, you it's one thing to be a girlfriend and a wife, but to be a wife is totally different. And we've seen a lot of examples from his family. A lot of his family members are married. In my family, most of my family members are married too. So we've had the examples surrounding us. So now we had to sit together and be like, okay, how are we going to emulate that? You know, how are you going to do better in this? Or how are you going to provide for us in this? And same for me. I had the same expectation. Are you going to do better at this? You know, are you going to do better at this? Because you can't, after a while, your baggage that you came with before you became a girlfriend can't be the baggage that you continue in throughout the relationship, because at that point, how are you growing? How are you overcoming those obstacles? Those are something you have to constantly work at. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect, because nobody's perfect. God did not make me perfect, but he definitely gave me a person that could love me and work with me through those obstacles. And knowing that and being plain and honest about those things helps both of us out in the long run. And continue working on that, I think, is definitely something I'm learning from and seeing in, my relationships around my family. My mom and dad, they've been married for a long time, and so are his parents. So it's just it's good to sit down and tell each other, okay, yes, I want you to be my husband, but these are some things that we have to continue working on. Same with me, I want you to be my wife, but I need you to work on this and that. And being a wife, I've been told by multiple people, it's like a whole new world. So being able to study and get all that stuff up front, hey, I'm hearing is better than nothing. The fifth thing I wish I knew before getting married, and that is ring shopping. So I did not know the extent of ring shopping. Like, ring shopping is a big deal. I don't know what I was thinking, but I don't know. I had no expectations, but I knew early on I had to start looking at rings on Pinterest. So what I did, I made a Pinterest board and I found things I liked, I didn't like, and that took me a couple months, like, especially because I said I'm kind of indecisive and I want everything that looks pretty and sparkly. I knew for him I needed to come down to one singular thing. So before, this was, I think, last year, me and my fiance, we went out ring shopping. So we went to Zeinberg. We went to all the big K jewelers. We looked online, like we went through all these big chain restaurants at first, just going to the mall and see what I liked, and get my ring size and all that stuff. So we started looking ring shopping probably about last year. And so with that, I knew that I had different, so I loved the princess cut at first, the small square. I loved that with the band, simple band. I've always liked a simple band because I know I wanted the wedding band to be more extravagant. So very simple band. And then after a while I looked at the princess, then I liked the emerald cut, then I went for emerald cut, then I really loved the oval. And so when I liked the oval, that was when we went to the jewelers, and this was a more small family jewel. I don't know if they're family, but let me say they're a small, like not franchise jeweler in Winter Park. This is in Florida, and it's so funny because the starts. Me and my partner was with my parents, and we were walking around, if you know the Orlando area, it's a very large, like, boutiques and all that, and we found this jeweler, and my mom wanted to go in this jeweler and was like, oh my god, I'm looking for stuff for a necklace, whatever. She went in there, and me and Tyreeka were like, okay, let's go in there too, because we knew we were already looking for rings. So we were like, nothing could happen, let's just go look around, window shopping. So we ended up window shopping, and the people in there were so nice, and we met this lady, Alana, and Alana was like, oh, you guys trying to get married? Like, let's just look at rings. And she was just very eye-opening to the wedding experience and to the ring experience, because we didn't know the price, we didn't know what diamonds, we didn't know none of that stuff. So when it went, it almost felt like magic, like it just, and she got along really well with Tyreek. So from there, I was like, okay, this seems like, and I also picked out a bunch of rings that I liked. So from there, he had pictures, he knew what I liked, we tried them on, like we were getting down to the nitty gritty. So from there, I was like, okay, he knows what I want, I know what I want, he can now take that and run with it. So after that, we didn't shop at rings again because we really enjoy Bay Hill Jewelers. Let me make sure. Yep, Bay Hill Jewelers, and we're still now really close with her, and she was so nice. Even after when we started looking for wedding bands for him, like, it's one thing for someone to be like, hi, how are you, like the basic necessities, but I felt that she just went over and out about helping us finding a ring, and she just made the experience so much more fun. And it was so much more fun. I had champagne and all this stuff, so it was a good ordeal. This was like the most perfect ring ever. Like, I couldn't have picked it out myself. And now I get ring cleanings and all this other stuff, and every time I go in, they're like, hi, and all this nice stuff. So I wish I knew before getting engaged, and that was the turmoil of getting engaged. So there's like a certain energy where you feel like you're going to get proposed to. Like, the wind changes, your partner starts acting weird, or like for him, he will always say, oh, I can't wait for our proposal, I can't wait for your proposal, I did everything so perfect, like everything's turning out so fine. And every time he would hype up the event, I immediately start thinking of, okay, when could it be? I need to get ready. Is my hair gonna be done? Is my nails gonna be done? Like, there's like, you go down, or at least for me, I went down this checklist like every day. Is this the day? Can I come back home? Like, imagine me walking back from home from a date night and now everyone's gonna be in my house, and now this is where I'm gonna get proposed to, the house. This I'm gonna get proposed to at the restaurant. I'm gonna get proposed to at a birthday event. I'm gonna, like, at least for me, I was like, okay, I need to be ready. Like, I just always wanted to be ready. But I think how he planned it was perfect, because I did not know, honestly. I knew I was gonna get engaged to, but I did not think it was gonna be then. But yeah, so definitely that turmoil and always wondering, like, okay, is this the day? Is this the day? Okay, is this the day? No, this has to be the day. It was definitely something. I definitely wouldn't, especially knowing and trusting your partner that you know you're gonna get engaged. Like, I don't know why I was putting so much energy into that, but I was, and I don't regret it. Thing I wish I knew before getting engaged, and that was the proposal. Like, the entire event was just, I don't know, it was like I felt like a princess that day. So I'm gonna go ahead and describe my proposal. This is the seventh thing I would. It's not that I wish I knew it, but it's just coming up to the event. You're now like in it, and now that it's done, it's like it's just something to reflect on. I'm just gonna give my story. So I was proposed to on April 5th. I had family in town, and my partner was out of town on a work trip for like 2 weeks. I also, during his 2 week stay, I was out of town in a different state for medical school conference and just some other stuff. So we haven't seen each other for 2 weeks. And I just really want to take you out on a nice dinner, and I give you the money and just go buy a nice dress, blah, blah, blah. So this didn't surprise me because he's done this before. So it was just like, okay. And then we haven't seen each other in 2 weeks. So I was excited. I was like, okay, like, I want to go on a nice dinner. So let's do that. Like, so I went to go, I think the day before, I went to go find a dress. I'll show some clips of the dresses I went through. Zara really came through. And I'm trying to think, did I think I was going to engage you? I probably did, because I always think I'm going to get before getting engaged, I always knew I was going to get engaged to. The delusion. So I definitely didn't undertake it, and I love getting dressed. Like, one thing about me, if it comes to makeup, I get to do my hair, get to dress up, I get to lotion down. Like, I'm excited for that. I just love getting cute. When he said that, I was like, bet. Work trip, I'm getting off of work, and my car breaks down. She shut down at the light. She didn't want to start back up, and then my engine light came on. Like, all the low lights was coming on. I was like, what is going on? So first thing I called, I'm like, something's wrong with my car, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he hasn't been texting me all day, because I'm assuming now that everything's happening, he was busy. He was rushing, trying to get this and this done. So, and we didn't want to see each other until the date started, because he wanted to pick me up, like in the movies, like pick him up and all stuff. So I called AAA, and thank God, because AAA can take hours. So before, interstate before, and I was stuck there for hours. But this time, and Tyreek helped me that time too, but this time, they were quick. They were able to tow truck, all that stuff, probably in under an hour. So at that point, Tyreek was able to pick me up and drop me off to the house, and I was able to get ready. But this point, I was rushing. Like, I didn't have as much time as I wanted to. So picked me up. He had flowers, and I was all dressed up. He was all dressed up nice, and we went on our date. We ended up going to Ruth Chris, which the ambiance was very nice. I'll give it that. Like, the ambiance was nice, and we were just talking like we normally do on our date night. So, and soon after that, he started acting weird. Like, he was looking around. Like, we were talking, but you could tell he wasn't like really, he wasn't really present. And I was just like, what is wrong? So after a while, I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're acting weird. Like, I'm getting anxiety all of a sudden. He was like, what? You're getting anxiety? Like, he started asking my questions with questions. And so, you're getting anxiety? Wow. And he was like, okay, we're going to order dessert. And it's called the house special. And with the house special, it's whatever the chef wants to cook for us. It's like this really nice thing. I'm like, okay, cool. And then on my menu, it said something. I got the one that came with the appetizer, a meal, and the dessert. And it said something like a dessert special, something special. So I was like, okay, like this, I didn't think anything. Like, it didn't add up as nothing, because I saw it on the menu. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, and so the waiter comes, and he's like, okay, you guys want the house special? And he looks at Tariq, and they kind of like wink. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what? I'm like, y'all know each other? Like, is there something I'm missing? Mind you, this is like a middle-aged white guy, so I wasn't thinking. I was like, y'all know each other? And so the waiter walks away, and I'm sitting there, like, still looking at Tariq, like, what is going on? And Tariq's kind of, like, looking, and he's like, oh, my back, and, like he's kind of sitting weird. So I'm like, what is going on? And eventually the waiter starts to bring the dessert. But before he brings the dessert, I think he asks, oh, I heard he tells my partner, he tells my fiance, oh, you wanted to show me something on your phone? And I'm like, showing the waiter something on your phone? So I think at this point, I'm like, okay, I think this is happening. So but I also just want to see what's about to unfold, because maybe I don't want to, you know, if I don't see a knee or I don't see a ring, then you can't assume that it's a proposal. You know what I mean? So Tariq's like, oh, yes. So he hands the guy's phone, and then he's like, and then Tariq tells me, he's like, okay, I want you to read this. And I'm like, okay. And mind you, so I flash back to 3 years ago on our first date. Tariq wrote me a love letter about how he want, and at the end it has like, I want you to be my girlfriend. That's how he asked. And so this time I'm reading a different letter, and it's like 3 pages. So at first I'm like, you really want me to read these 3 pages? Because this is long. So I think he starts reading it. I'm going to show a little clip of it, but.
Baby, every day, I thank the Lord for you and reflect on how blessed I am.
Okay. I can have a... Okay, I always thank you to the first day we started talking, and I think about how easy it felt to talk to you. Baby, I love commitment, and feelings for you will never change, because choosing to love you, to commit to you, is the easiest decision I've made every day.
You've always stuck by me, and I've always stuck by you. And no one is more deserving of this moment than you. Hey, Muse, you become my wife, type shit.
I knew I was gonna cry, but I just didn't know, like, when you're in the moment, like, especially you're like staring in his eyes and he's staring in my eyes, and then, you know, he looks so nice with the haircut and his nice outfit. Like, I was like, this is too much. Like, I was crying real hard. I was like, and then you see the ring, and then the light is hitting again, and then everyone starts clapping, and then it's like, oh my gosh, we're like hugging and kissing and stuff. I was not expecting him to, like, it was just a different experience, but I'm so glad he did, because it was so much fun. Like, I never would have thought of that. And I had no expectations, so I was excited. I was like, this is beautiful. Like, they have rose petals and, you know, the chocolate. And then I did get to eat dessert. I don't think I ate it there because I wasn't hungry at the time. But it was like it was a bread pudding. It was really good. It's like, he was like, okay, well, we have another segment. And I'm like, another segment? Like, sir, I could barely take the first segment. Like, as you can see, my makeup is running down my face. My lashes are falling off. Like, what do you mean there's more? So we were leaving the restaurant, like, I noticed that a lot of the people who worked there knew. They were like, oh my God, it's finally happening. Like, oh my God, they were so happy for me. And then the way the manager was like, he's been here all day. Like, he's been planning it from like where you're going to sit down to like walk through. Like, he's been here planning this. Like, he worked so hard. And, you know, different people told me that. So some of the hostess were telling me that. And then the manager, and then the waiter that was here was also telling me that he was going to be here. So, and Tariq was like, yeah, I've been here all day. I had to know step by step. I had to know play by play. I had to know step by step. As soon as they opened, I was here. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because he's a planner. Like, he's a planner down to the minute. Like, I'm more plan B. He's definitely more plan A. Type A. He's type A. I'm definitely type B. We ended up going to the hotel that he got, and he had me wait outside the hotel. And he was like, okay, just wait here. So I was waiting out there for like 5 minutes, bro. So I was taking pictures, you know, I was looking cute. I'll show pictures, but I was taking pictures. I'll show my ring and all these other things. And when I opened the door, he did everything top notch. Like, I honestly don't know how it could have been any better. I wish I knew before getting married was definitely the tears. I was not expecting to cry. I mean, I was expecting to always imagine myself crying, but actually to, like, it didn't require no other tears. Like, it didn't require no, like, like, I immediately started crying. Like, I did not expect that. But 9 things I wish I knew. The 9th thing I wish I knew before getting engaged was definitely the morning after. So the morning after, we were not sure if we were going to tell our family members, because we had the hotel for about 2 nights and we just wanted to chill. I think because he was at work all the time for 2 weeks, and then I went out of town, and then like it was our first week of just woosah. So the morning after, definitely like an electric. Like we were both like so excited, and you know, just hugging and embracing and just spending time and talking life into each other about, you know, how we're excited to be husband and wife and like taking this next step. Is definitely something. Like the day after is like something, is like euphoric, you know. And then we end up calling our friends and family. I think I posted on Instagram the next day or the day after, but we posted on Instagram the next day, and then our notifications were going off like bing, 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 and like family was calling us and friends were calling us. Like just that, having a support system was so great. And it's something to, it's so hard to describe, but when it happens, and you know, all your especially my friends, they know Tyreek, and my family knows Tyreek and his family too, so it was just a buttload of excitement that weekend. Like we knew we wanted to wait because we knew our phones were going to go off, but when it did, like I was still surprised. Although I know my friends support me, my family support me, it's still nice knowing that, you know, you still have family by your side, and it's just about how much people are rooting for you and wanting you to succeed. The 10th and final thing I wish I knew before you engage, and that is the expectation of now transitioning from a girlfriend to a wife. And I feel like instantly I need to go to wife school. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. Not that I'm a terrible girlfriend, a terrible wife, but I feel like now there's like higher expectations, and like now, like I feel like my spot is now, so although my spot is solidified, but now I gotta get ish done. Like I can't be sitting here. I just want to make sure I'm always, you know, just being there for him. And you know, and when I did listen to this church service a while ago, said, you know, I gotta speak life into your family, and you know, he's my family now, so I always want to make sure I'm doing my best. Obviously, I do mess up, and I'm probably tend to, you know, regress, but I think moving forward, always trying to, like let me see if I can find the book, but I am listening to this book about just being a good wife, especially in the eyes of the Lord, and being there for my partner, and just making sure that I just don't want to fail him, and I don't want to fail our relationship. Not that it's on me, it's on both of us, but now that I am becoming a wife, those are things I have in my head that I constantly have to, you know, go over my mind. And always want to make sure I'm looking ahead in life, and making sure that now that I'm starting this family partner, that we're both, you know, always on the same page. The 10 things I wish I knew before getting engaged. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys got a chance to, you know, this is my first sit down video, so I hope you guys got a chance to understand me and my process. And you know, I want to be able to record these journeys. So right now I'm engaged. I plan on going to medical school in a few months. So over time, I hope to look back and have a time capsule of all the things that leading up to who I am in the future, you know, going back to my marriage video, now my engagement video, and going back to see my New Orleans vlogs that you can check out down below, and always being excited for the next thing. So I'm excited. You guys can watch me every Friday, and stay tuned on what's to come. Bye. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.
But it's this one thing that got me tripping. It's this one thing that got me tripping. You did.